Alright, what's going on, guys? Welcome to the Games and Things episode 7. It's me, your boy, the ACMJS, as always, joined by Fallen, or Jeremy, and we have a
Bye.
special guest. His name's Nick.
Unfortunately.
Me.
It's Nick. We got a lot of topics. As usual, we'll go through them fairly quickly, I'm assuming. So Sony, starting off with the PS4/PS5 news. I don't even know how to say his name. Shuhei Yoshida stepped down as the head of Worldwide Studios, and they appointed Herman Holst. The only reason why this is interesting to anyone who is involved with Sony is because he was the Guerrilla Games director and co-founder.
Wait,
And
what's Guerrilla Games again?
Guerrilla Games is the company that made Horizon Zero Dawn, and Decima Engine, which Horizon Zero Dawn is...
Oh yeah, which was also Death Stranding.
Exactly. There you go. See, Nick can put the points together. I like that, Nick. I like this.
I'm gonna get fired.
We had some... There was somebody who posted on Twitter fairly recently that the PS5 would be set to release November 20th, 2020 for $500, and Gran Turismo 7 for some reason would be like a lead title. So we've talked about this in the past, about it being between 4 and 500. So in your guys' opinion, is $500 too much for the PS5?
I'd say $600 is not 500.
Wait, you said 500?
Yeah,
Yeah.
the rumor is it's listed at $499.99.
Well,
That's not bad.
It's not bad. It could be 400. I mean, I know the Switch was 400, so something that's bigger.
The Switch is 300 only.
394. I personally don't think that's too high, considering it's only $100 more than the PS4's original price. But here's the question: if the base is 500, does that mean that the PS5 Pro is going to be 550 or 600?
But that would be stupid.
Exactly.
Well,
So that's my question.
The Pro? Would it be?
So
Are they
there,
gonna have a Pro, or are they gonna?
there's a rumor that when they launch on release day, that there will be a base model and a second model, and a lot of people are assuming, including myself, that this second model is going to be the advanced version. So instead of doing
Yeah, it probably is.
what they did last time, where they were like, here's PS4, and then a couple of years later there's like, here's PS4 Pro, they're going to launch them at the same time. But that also makes me think that maybe they have another one down the line, because they could do something like a PS5 Slim or something.
Oh yeah, it could be a fat and a slim like they did for PlayStation 2, and then Pro like down the line. Are they gonna have different colors?
How long
I know it
have
was
you been
mostly
here,
just
dog?
black for PlayStation
Hold on.
4.
Who knows?
Oh my.
Um,
How long have you been stuck in here?
it's also rumored. It's also rumored that it would be 2 terabytes of either hardware or hard drive space. I don't know which one.
2 terabytes of the homework folder. I get it.
Yeah, exactly. So it'd be 2 terabytes of that, which I don't think is bad for $500.
Yeah, it's not bad at all.
I don't remember if I mentioned this last time or not, but they also filed patents for the PlayStation 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10.
So Microsoft can do PlayStation 11.
I mean, if they wanted to. They can't...
That's a lie. That's excessive.
Well, I think it's just, they're like, okay, well, in the future, maybe this. Because how long has the PS4 been out? 4 or 5 years now?
7 years.
7 years? Jesus, 7
So,
years. And it's... Yeah. So that'll be interesting to see. I think it was on, actually, November 19th or 20th that tweet was released. They were like, by this time next year, we'll all be waiting for the PS5, because it'll be out today. And I was like, oh, all right. Sony cancels PlayStation View. I never used it.
Wait, they canceled that?
Yeah, they completely...
Wait, they canceled what? I'm sorry?
PlayStation View. They completely canceled it. They got rid of it. They sold it to someone.
Yeah, I'm not surprised.
Wait, so it's still a thing?
Well, yeah, but I don't think it's a service that's any longer available on PlayStation right now.
Yeah, I wouldn't be
Um,
surprised. Honestly, it wasn't that good. I never used it once.
wow. And for those two people who are watching this podcast, um,
6 years. Sorry.
6 years. Uh, do you remember that all of this information? I didn't realize this, but our last show that was not show, our last podcast, I should say,
Oh.
that was uploaded was actually October 30th, which was a month ago. Actually, more than a month ago when this is uploaded on
Sorry.
Tuesday, which is fine because we had to take a break because college finals are wrapping up, and it's kind of like
Don't make
that
excuses.
last. Well, it's like the last leg of the semester where you're like trying to get
Jeremy,
everything.
you wanna do my homework and finals?
Yeah,
Go
exactly.
ahead.
Anyways, this was a few weeks ago, like I said, with the rest of the news. PS4 was named the second best selling console of all time, with the first being the PlayStation 2.
Wait, really? PlayStation 2 is best sold of all time?
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
I didn't
Which
know
is
that.
very interesting because a lot of people were like, oh, yeah, sure, we'll buy a PlayStation 3. But it was. I don't remember how much. It was really ridiculous when the PlayStation
I
3
went
came
from
out.
PS2 to Xbox 360, then back to PlayStation
Yeah,
4.
that's what a lot of people did. What was the PlayStation? It was a ridiculous amount of money.
At the time.
Price.
Yeah,
Release.
you know that one.
It was $500.
Price of release. Are you
20
serious?
20 gigabyte hard drive and will come with the price tag $500. The more expensive model will come out with a 60 gigabyte hard drive and will cost $600. So a lot of people bought a 360 from the PS2 because the 360 was cheaper.
Ah,
But then they switched back because Microsoft was like, "Hey, we have a console for 500," and Sony was like, "Hey, we have a console for 4." But I think we're at that point where how much will Xbox Scarlett cost? And I don't think we know yet. But if they're
Let's be honest, who's actually gonna buy the Xbox Scarlett?
but here's the
'Cause
thing.
I'm not.
But here's the thing. If they both come out at $500, that will be like the first true test because people, buy based on, which is cheaper.
mm-mm.
So, well, some people buy
A
them.
lot of it's been the console wars.
Well, yeah, that
Like,
too.
people think PlayStation better, people think Xbox.
Not only that, but it comes down to exclusives as well.
Yeah, that's
There was something I saw, another article that was like Xbox Scarlett plans to release 33 games within like 3 weeks of each other when it releases, and I was like,
Within
cool.
how long?
that's
I'm
the
sorry.
one thing that sucks about new consoles is you need to wait for games to come out.
Yeah.
Yeah, you said
I-
6 weeks. What?
I don't remember the exact number, but it was like Xbox was like it was in the double digits. They were like, we have this amount of games and we plan on releasing them in this amount of weeks. So they were like trying to say when the Scarlet comes out, we would have like this amount of games or 2 new games like every week or whatever.
So for next gen, it's gonna be Fortnite 2. That's probably
Probably.
that's my
But my thing was if they're doing what I think they're doing and they're gaining all of these studios and they're all indie games and none of them are AAA titles, who cares? Like I can understand like some people really like indie games, but my thing has always been if it's weird and it's like the weird art style, I just don't care for it.
Well, Jonas. Some
But it
people just
depends.
don't have taste, so
Well, yeah, that too, and I
they
certainly
have it.
don't.
Oh yeah, that's a fact.
Yeah, gee, thanks, Jeremy.
I'm
Well,
joking.
November is over, but the free PlayStation Plus games were Neo and Outlast 2. I had a weird theory about this. November, Neo, and Outlast. Neo is a sword fighting game. Ghost of Tsushima might come out November of next year. Who knows? See, next, Death Stranding, polarizing reviews. Kojima had some weird comments. He said
Polarizing question mark?
polarizing.
Lol.
Do you know what that means?
Like, are you saying like overwhelmingly good reviews?
No,
Okay, that's all I cared about. Okay.
no. I'm talking about polarizing as in it's very much people don't really agree in the middle. it means that a lot of people are either they hate it or they love it. There is no in between. And I can definitely see that after playing through the game. I haven't finished it, but playing through the game, I can definitely see why some people would like it, some people would hate it. His comments, though, Kojima was saying that he didn't think that he didn't think that that it was selling well in the United States because the United States prefers first-person shooters, and his game
Which is totally wrong.
and his game isn't that, and I agree that it is wrong.
Sorry, second.
We were talking about the Death Stranding polarizing reviews.
Oh yeah, how it's not really a game.
It's it's either you love it or you hate it.
Yeah.
From what I've done so far, there is a lot of walking. I could see why a lot of people don't like it. It's weird because it's like I'm one of those people that I'm like I can look at the walking and endure it just to get to the next cinematic scene just to see what happens.
But can you endure carrying all those packages, knocking them over, them going down a stream? You have to
No,
chase them down,
that is the
and
most frustrating thing.
That's part of the game. Just carrying like 6 things on your back.
I
while trying
won't-
to wash down the and erase like 10 minutes of progress. It's
While,
great.
while mud guys are pulling you down and you can't get to it and it just
Yeah.
goes away. And you never
I
go
won't
back.
spoil
Death
anything.
Stranding, everyone.
I won't spoil anything, but there are parts of the game where you have to carry like human cargo, either human or dead like bodies on the back.
Well, if you leave bodies, they will eventually void out. So
Well, yeah, but
there's
what I'm
that.
saying is there are missions
someone in the
where you
middle of
have to
something.
deliver these things, the bodies, from point A to point B.
Before
and-
they go necro.
Yeah, and one of the missions I was doing, I had to cross a river, but I didn't have the place online yet or connected to the network, so I couldn't build a bridge to get over the river. I spent like 30 minutes trying to cross the river because Sam kept losing his stamina or whatever, and so he would fall and the body would just float down river.
Well, if you stand still, you regain stamina.
Well, yes, but
If you're in the middle of the river.
it took me a while to get there. Anyways, moving on. Cyberpunk
God, Cyberpunk.
2077, you might find this interesting. Have you heard anything about this, Nick? I'm curious if you've heard
Well, you gotta-
anything.
I haven't heard anything
previous-
related except for what you told.
I'm assuming, Jeremy, you have
What?
heard stuff about Cyberpunk.
Actually, I have not. I'll be
Okay.
honest with you, I have been really, when it comes to news, I have been really in the dark as of late. 'cause
Okay.
I'm so dang busy.
That's good for a host to ask questions then.
Put this blanket on. Oh, that's nice.
So, there was a recent conference call, and because CD Projekt Red isn't an open public company, I don't know how that works. It's not like an open thing where they have like a board where like public
Right.
opinion and all that. But there was a investors call or something that they did, based all of that to say something was said along the lines of they want to include quote unquote wise microtransactions in the portion of the multiplayer game. And there's a problem with this, and it's that we don't know we don't know
So
what
hypocritical.
we don't know what wise means. What does wise monetization entail? And we don't know what multiplayer, we don't know what we're going to see, or even what it is. And there have been
It'd be similar to the Uncharted multiplayer and the Tomb Raider stuff,
possibly,
I guess. Or maybe it's gonna be Watch Dogs.
and we've talked about this on the podcast before, but I wanted to reiterate the 5 other ways they could do it. They could do it like GTA, multiple servers with multiple people and separate online missions. They could do it like Watch Dogs, where there's co-op and separate online missions. They could do it where it's co-op and it's just the single player story, which would be cool, where it's like Dead Space. There's Ghost Recon, where it could be 4-player story or online co-op or both, and then just 4-player story co-op. So out of all of those, plus the whatever you said earlier,
Yeah, boy.
they could
My guess is gonna be kind of like Watch Dogs, where you can do a campaign with other people. It's like
Yeah,
4
I
other
agree
members.
with
I don't. Here's the thing though. The single player is a very
It's not like campaign, like it doesn't progress story wise, but you do missions just kind of like the campaign would have you do.
so like Watch Dogs.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Okay, yeah, I could see that. Or like Unity, where it's like you're in a multiplayer thing with like other people, and you.
Yeah.
Okay, I could see that. Um, so maybe, hopefully, we don't know.
Could you see? Okay, would you be open to the idea of kind of like you make your own, like, you know how you make your own character in the campaign? You do that, but multiplayer,
I wouldn't be
kind of
opposed
like a
to that.
GTA
No,
type of deal. No,
but
you wouldn't really play it. I know you.
no, I would play if it's multiplayer. If it's a game I love, yeah.
I could see them doing a kind of GTA Online with less microtransactions, and any if there were any, it'd just be cosmetical.
Here's the problem with microtransactions, though, or
Is that
not,
they boast about not having all that crap.
or not
Like, oh, look, put it
microtransactions.
in.
That's not what I was saying.
Oh,
Here's the problem that a lot of people have with GTA Online, and it's that you have to have 4 player to do the co-op or to do the online missions. So I don't think
You don't
they.
need 4-player co-op if you do a private match. But I know what
yeah,
you mean.
that's true.
Well,
Yeah.
yeah, but what I'm saying is you have to have like 4 people. So I don't think they would do that approach. And saying that, I don't think they would do like 4 player co-op. I think they would do co-op where it's like you and somebody like a friend can go and do um, other missions that are separate from the campaign. But again, we have no idea what wise means. Apparently, they want wise monetization for money value. Apparently, according to someone in the official Discord, monetization doesn't equal microtransactions. So if they don't equal microtransactions, I mean, what else is there really?
Could they be maybe it could be adding on other DLC. You know how like a season pass with like
But
different. Maybe they add on like new campaign missions. So they add on bits and pieces to add, like maybe they add on to the map and add new areas that you can explore. You know what I mean?
well, here's my thing.
Could also have another thing, kind of like what Horizon Zero Dawn did in same for Far Cry, where they add an entire new side mission, like a very very big one, kind
I
of
wouldn't
like
mind that.
Shadow of War
Yeah,
did,
yeah.
where they add an entire new quest line.
I wouldn't mind that, but for multiplayer, where it's like new co-op areas in that setting, I wouldn't mind that, but I would say they don't want to do like games as a service. So there would have to be at some point where they were like, this is the final thing, because otherwise they're literally doing what Ubisoft is doing right now, where it's, oh, wait a year and we'll give out 4 different story things. That's literally games as a service. So who knows at this point?
Right.
Some stuff came out of a conference, I think in Germany. They said the story length would be shorter than The Witcher 3, but that was only measured by the main campaign and the big side quests, so that's not even including like the other smaller side quests.
I don't know how Witcher was, but isn't there going to be a lot more to explore in this game? Like explorable rooms, explorable buildings.
Potentially,
All
because their goal was any building that you go into, while it may look smaller, any building that you go into, if it's multiple stories, you can virtually enter any building in the city, and there's
yeah, so
like
it
something in there.
compensates.
Kind of like Deus Ex.
So it compensates, like smaller map, but more variety, like more depth. That's okay. I
Right.
think that's good.
Nick?
Yeah.
You think that's.
I mean, it'd be kind of weird because you'd have this a situation like Skyrim where you can't load everything at once. So
Right.
there's gonna be a lot of loading screens if you do it that way, or it's just gonna be an insanely big game, and you'd have to sacrifice a lot of map size because if you're able to explore everything, that's a lot of stuff to load.
Well,
It'd be cool.
they've already said that the map is not anywhere near as big as The Witcher because they're thinking, is it vertical, not horizontal? They're
Mhm.
thinking big skyscrapers.
Oh, I gotcha.
So it's nowhere near as big as The Witcher in
Like
terms
Saints
of.
Row style, where they have just one big city, that's all you can go to,
Yeah.
It's not one big. Well, yeah, there are
more or
different
less.
areas, and I mean, you can drive anywhere. They didn't say anything, but they did say that they have heard the community's requests to be able to customize the vehicle, which would be nice. Apparently, they're trying to make the game more replayable, which I don't know how you could make it more replayable based on like just dialogue options and ways you accomplish missions alone. Um, Apparently, they're working on a way to have players continuing the game after the story ends. We'll see what that does.
It's
I
New
Um,
Game
in my,
Plus.
yeah, true. In my opinion, if the game doesn't have a lot of in-game content, end game content, I think it could damage its because everybody's gonna be like a game of
They
a
could always
generation.
do New Game
I
Plus, which is what a lot of games do.
yeah, I
That's
think
very true.
I think they'll do both. I think they'll do New Game Plus to have people replay through the game and do like different decisions. But I also think that their end game plan is the multiplayer.
Yeah, I gotcha.
Oh, okay.
I think that's how they're like we want to monetize it in some way, shape, or form. Um,
But it's not gonna be like a Rockstar game though, right? Where the campaign and the multiplayer are completely separate, but
no,
you know what I mean?
I think they'll be conjoined because there was talk of them doing some sort of hub in like somewhere in the city where once you enter the hub, you are like meeting other online players, and maybe once you enter the hub you transfer into a server that is multiplayer, but that would be GTA, so who knows.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
um Back to the PS4 PS5, there was an article that had some problems that the title was PS4 or PS5 9 problems fans won't see. You guys are making my Discord go off. Can you like not?
Not
Okay.
what?
Now what?
I keep getting notifications. Um, one of the problems was half baked backwards compatibility. He said some will believe we'll end up with a system like Xbox, where they have kind of a service where it's like every couple of months we'll update a few more games where you can play PS4 discs on the PS5. I don't think that'll happen. I think you're just going to be able to stick PS4 discs in the PS5 and play games from day
Oh, is it
one.
gonna be kind of like how the PlayStation 2 can run PlayStation 1 games, but the
Yeah.
PlayStation
That's what they're hoping for 432 and 1. But
but
the
it's gonna
lot
be like it's gonna be digital games too, right? So you get to keep all your games.
yes, and they said that you would keep all your digital games so long as you signed in and had the same account.
Yeah, so it's gonna be kind of like. Do you think they're gonna keep the account sharing? Because I know they lose a lot of money to that,
I don't know.
like the setting primary account.
I don't know.
That would suck.
The let's see.
I'd lose like 2 games.
A problem apparently for them was not securing studios and exclusives. Apparently, Xbox has been acquiring multiple studios over the past few years, possibly leading them to pumping out more exclusives. But I said, will they all be indie games? Because if they're not AAA title, typically they don't have like the same budget and even less so marketing. So it's like, what's the point of having all these individual studios if the games aren't even going to be widely spread?
I got you. I don't know. I mean, like you said that Xbox got multiple. Do you know what the studios are that they have?
I do not. I remember last year and the year before that, they were like touting. They're like, we are proud to announce we have acquired this studio.
But the thing is, the studios they acquire aren't even good studios, and the games they've made nobody had
Exactly.
played. So it's
Exactly.
like, it's funny because Sony has quality, Xbox has quantity. That's how it's always been and
Right.
how it's always going to be. Because Xbox just thinks, oh, we can just grab random studios to make these games, and nobody actually likes them. Whereas Sony's like, we have a couple of studios, and we're going to make sure that all of them make really good games. And we're going to take our time with our games, and then that's why Sony destroys Xbox when it comes to game quality.
Right.
Yeah, I can see that. I mean, there are games like Halo that have been on Xbox. I
But
think they
that's
moved it to
true.
PC though, but
But that's
it's been an exclusive for so long that you know
no,
I think
that's
other games
true.
though.
But remember that Halo was their when they made the Xbox. Halo was their selling point, so of course they're going to bust their ass on Halo. But
Yeah,
anything else that they put out hasn't been good after Halo because Halo is what is the only reason that the Xbox is still a thing. Because if it weren't for Halo, they would have suffered. Well, wait, I lied actually. Was KOTOR an exclusive for Xbox?
No.
No, I think that was on PC too.
Yep.
Okay, then
Along
never
with
mind.
the original Xbox.
Yeah,
I know
the Xbox.
Uncharted was one of the big things for
Sony.
PlayStation.
Yep.
Yeah, but no, yeah, that's how I feel about Xbox, and that's why I just Xbox is doo doo when it comes to game quality. They have like quantity of crappy games, but
Isn't this supposed to be an unbiased podcast, Jeremy?
No.
no, it's not.
Oh, it's not. Oh, then
Nope.
yes, screw that. Yeah, no one likes Xbox. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly, dude.
Anybody who's like seen
Only-
this since episode 1 should realize that.
Only multiplayer mainstream gamers who play Fortnite like Xbox.
I mean, I play Fortnite all the time
Oh my
on my PlayStation.
That's true, but you also play other good games. I'm talking about people that don't.
Like Horizon Zero Dawn. That's a good game.
Yeah.
Hate that game.
Okay.
Let's just keep going.
Our fourth problem fans wants to coming. Apparently, somehow this person has some insight into what the Xbox will be, because he said, underpowered at launch, Xbox will be better, even though we don't have the definitive graphics yet. And Sony, if that's true, and they want it for $500 with 2 terabytes of hard drive, whatever. Hard drive space. I mean, they already win. This one I actually do have to agree. Their problem is that state of play is still a mess, and that they're showing a bunch of games that nobody really cares about, and they only reveal one big thing. Like the last time they had a state of play was just to show off The Last of Us, and the one before that was just to show Death Stranding.
I agree.
But technically, this doesn't affect the PlayStation 5. This is just a marketing thing with Sony. So that was my issue with that. Is like, yes, I agree it's a mess, but it doesn't directly influence the PlayStation 5. I mean, there are other ways we're going to get of games being released. Another one that the complaint was the price. Go ahead.
I was gonna say about the state of play.
Mm-hmm.
I think that they should take some tippers off of Nintendo Direct, because even if I don't care about a game during Nintendo Direct, the way it's advertised, it's never. It's like there have been games that I never would buy, where I was just sit there and go, oh, that actually looks kind of interesting, just off of the way they
Right.
advertise it to you. And I think if Sony paid attention to how other people did it, and they could actually do a decent job with their state of play.
I see that.
Yeah.
Did either of you see? What was it? It was basically Xbox's version of Direct or State of Play, where they had like a couple of hosts at like a thing, and they like brought on people from the dev teams and like interviewed them, quote unquote, with like gameplay and everything.
I just saw
Did not see
Donkey
that,
make
no.
fun. I just saw Donkey do his own version of it and make fun of it.
Oh, okay. I don't know what it's called. It's
I saw
not.
your video on State of Play, Jonah.
Oh.
ACMGS
Thank you.
on YouTube.com.
My heart.
Who's that?
Wow. Anyways, Xbox did their own spin on it, and they were like, "This is terrible." And they're like, "We know State of Play is bad, but Xbox is worse." So I would like to see that improved in the future. I would like it to be more of like an E3 thing, but they're kind of just doing what Square Enix did at E3 2017, where they were like, "Here we are, 30 minutes, boom, let's just run all the gameplay trailers that we've already seen at the Sony and Microsoft shows."
Well, that's not a bad idea. I mean, it gets the point across.
It isn't, but it takes out like the human interaction in it.
They could do what Minecraft did for Minecraft, where they started streaming it and just do live questions.
That's
a weird
true.
comparison.
That'd be a good idea.
That's true.
Say another problem. They said gimmicks. You know, when the PS4 or DualShock 4 came out, they're like, "Oh look, we got the new light that doesn't do anything." It's like, cool. But they're talking about.
It depends on the game you're playing.
Oh yeah,
In
we.
GTA, it flashes red and blue when I accidentally bump into a fire hydrant.
Uh-huh.
But
Shows your crew color online.
apparently they claim that the option of downloading single or multiplayer when first installing is a gimmick that we already do. And it's like, yes, we already do that, but not in the way that PS5 was advertising. The way PlayStation was advertising it was when you first download a game, you can download both single and multiplayer or just one or the other. And then they said when you uninstall either, if you want to uninstall the multiplayer and keep the single player, you could do that, but you can't.
I would totally do that.
But you can't do that currently with games. You can just install which one you want first, and I think it's pretty cool because it's like, okay,
Yeah, because for something like the new Call of Duty, I don't.
yeah, any Call of
play
Duty.
the single player at all, really. And
I haven't
after I
touched
played it,
it
I
yet.
never played again. But I want to play the multiplayer over and over. So that'd be nice for sure.
And it would help free up space on your 2 terabytes. A problem that he saw was brand loyalty, which I don't have a problem with. I am like a Sony fanboy, but that's because all of the games that I like are on one console.
Well, to be fair, all the autistic kids are Nintendo fanboys, so.
Okay.
That's Xbox.
Another problem that they had, the last problem that they had, was the Sony formula, which was very interesting because it had a picture of like Horizon and God of War and The Last of Us and Ghost of Tsushima, and it was third-person action shooter over the shoulder. And apparently for like every exclusive, this is what they're going for. I personally don't mind third-person action over the shoulder. It's my favorite genre, compared to, first person.
Probably like Mass Effect then.
I do like Mass Effect. I did the whole series on my channel.
Oh, Mass Effect?
I knew that.
Did you though? Did you
Long
watch
time
every
fan
video?
here.
No,
Long time fan here, guys.
Shut up, Jeremy. We're actually going through this pretty faster than I thought. Moving on to EA, Jedi Fallen Order. This was before it was. This was before it was released. We have the 4 game mode, story mode, default, which is the Jedi Knight, Jedi Master,
And I'm doing Grandmaster. That's fun.
and Jedi Grandmaster.
Dude, I can't believe you are.
According to EA, it was the fastest selling PC title within its initial launch window, fastest selling digital Star Wars game within the first 2 weeks of launch, which speaks volumes for a company that thinks single player games, fans don't want to play them anymore, and they proved themselves wrong. So that was pretty hypocritical.
Yeah. Oh wait. Did you just say how the sales did on the game?
Yeah.
I didn't hear you. I'm sorry.
God. Well, I don't have the exact numbers, but it was the fastest selling PC title within its initial launch window, and the fastest selling digital Star Wars game within the first 2 weeks of launch.
It's like we actually want good Star Wars games instead of crappy Battlefronts. What a concept.
Did I not just say that? Yeah.
Wait, no. I want to pay at least $60 in microtransactions that they're playing.
That's a very unpopular opinion, but I'll take it.
And the skins have to be overpriced because I want my 501st skin.
I want
Yeah.
V-Bucks and all.
I want
My
V-Bucks.
501st skin.
I want to pay $5 to have the orange lightsaber.
No, I got a green one right now.
I do
wanna
too.
Make sure half the store is locked behind a pig gate.
Yeah, that's Ubisoft right there. My spoiler-free review, it's good. It's really good. If you're a Star Wars fan, you'll enjoy it. My only
hard, though.
the combat is a bit tricky to get used to.
Because the parry sucks. Because I'll go to parry something and then like it just won't work.
The only thing, and I told Jeremy this earlier, only thing I don't like is the slide mechanic. It can be very tricky.
I figured it out.
Really?
Whenever you're about to jump off a cliff, or whenever you're about to fall off a cliff, jump in the air and then turn, and you'll just like shift right back on it.
Huh, interesting.
No, it works for me. Every time I'm about to fall off, I jump in the air and just turn, and then I fall back and almost back in place.
This one, well, it's really for me because I've, finished the game. But based on what you two have played so far and the fact that I finished the game, do you guys think that this deserves a sequel if it was the same circumstances where it was, I forget the name of the same people who did Titanfall.
Respawn.
Yeah, Respawn. Do you think if they were like, we're not putting microtransactions in it and we want to do another sequel, would you buy another sequel to this game, currently playing it?
Yes.
I haven't played a ton of it, so I don't really have an opinion on that.
I would say yes, just because playing a single player Star Wars game is the most refreshing feeling on the planet. But
I
I
wish
would
they did
actually,
something similar to the older games, though.
yeah, that's where I was about. That's where I was actually about to go. Is that, but I kind of want like I miss the days where there were like 4 Star Wars games coming out around the same time from
Right.
different developers. I'm sick of it just EA owning.
I want a new
Star
Lego
Wars.
Star Wars game.
Hold on, I was literally about to say that. We do have one more that's coming out next year. That is the Skywalker Saga. That's all 9 movies, Lego form, but it's completely redone. It's the biggest project TT Games has ever taken on. And me and Jeremy are actually going to do a what's it called, a Let's Play of that next year when it comes out, hopefully. So I know me and Jeremy talked about this. Oh, Nick's.
I want to play.
Anyways, moving on. I think I told Jeremy this. I don't know if you remember this, Nick. There was a game that had just announced, and it was called Star Wars 1313.
Man, I'm gonna get salty.
You don't know what it is, Nick?
Nah.
So 13. So this was before Disney bought Lucasfilm, and before George Lucas sold the rights, and it was a game that had just come out, and it was a game about a mysterious bounty hunter who was working in the level 1313 in Coruscant. And it was later, after the game was leaked, it was revealed that you would be playing as a young Boba Fett, and it was a third-person shooter action adventure.
Yeah, I got you. That sounds cool.
So it does sound cool, but it was canceled because, So the question is, now that we have a good, solid...
I want 1313. I want that game so bad.
The question is, now that we have a good, solid Star Wars game with new combat that we haven't seen in the universe before, should, for example, Respawn do this game with this concept? Should they make 1313?
Yes.
I mean, it would work.
It would be the... No, it would be the second Star... No.
Make up your mind.
Second Star Wars third-person action shooter. There was another one that had Boba or Jango. I don't remember. It was,
what was that one that...
PS3 title, I think.
What was the one that got canceled that was like... It took place on the Outer Rim? You're supposed to like... be a bounty. Like, I forgot what it was.
I have no idea. That sounds like this one.
No, it was a different one. It was like on the outer rims, the rim of like the galaxy, and like you. I forgot who you played as, but it looked cool. It was a smaller game, but then it got canceled.
Was that cowboy dude? Yeah. I know I'm being really helpful right now.
Oh, you're talking about like Cad Bane?
Yeah, that's the guy.
No, yeah, I just remember they were making a smaller game, and then EA canceled it.
Oh, yeah. We'll get to that later because that ties into Stadia.
Google Stadia?
Yeah, we'll get to that later, Jeremy. I know exactly what you're talking about.
Okay, that's a fun dumpster fire.
Yeah, it is. Assassin's Creed Ragnarok. I actually just learned about this. I just learned about this today.
Is it going to be Norse mythology style?
Yes, and I immediately started thinking, so God of War, but Assassin's Creed.
God of War with Assassin's Creed.
With assassins, yeah.
And For Honor.
Oh God. So these these are all rumors. Nothing has been confirmed, but these are rumors that have been brewing for a while. So this is the first question, and the first thing that I think this isn't true is it 4-player co-op / Brotherhood recruitment system. This doesn't.
Like
no. Well, yeah, kind of, but this doesn't make sense. Because the Brotherhood recruitment system was where you recruited your own assassins within game. And they're saying that the 4-player co-op would be like 3 other people, not like AI recruits.
No, yeah, I get that.
So I'm like, is it supposed to be you and 3 other people online and then Brotherhood recruits?
It's going to be kind of like similar to how Far Cry 5 did it, where you could either play with a person or you could have two partners. You know what I mean?
So like Ghost Recon.
Yeah, where if you had in Ghost Recon, you can have your 3 teammates.
AI, yeah.
Play up with up to 3 other people.
Yeah, that's dope.
That'd be weird though. Anyways,
it's gonna be bad regardless of Ubisoft.
I'm not done yet. So there's that. The modern day will continue that started in Origins and is currently at the end of Odyssey, which is really weird. The whole modern day aspect at this point is fucked beyond belief.
Whoa, watch your mouth, kid.
Shut up.
Dude, that's not a word we use.
It is. Apparently you'll
My
start
dad
out.
is here. Calm down.
Apparently you'll start out as a Viking trader, and you will be turned into a full-fledged assassin. Who are you
Well, not
fighting?
that part.
The enemy are Christian Templars. That
Why
makes.
is it always Christians?
I don't know. That makes sense. Apparently you'll have the open sea and you'll travel on a boat just like in Odyssey, but naval
Black
warfare, Black Flag, naval warfare won't be as prominent as it was in Odyssey.
So not like Black Flag.
And there are other rumors that the combat will be similar to Odyssey, and if that's true, I don't want anything to do with it. Like, I'll watch it get played, but I will not buy it whatsoever.
Assassin's Creed Master.
Yeah, you have to play it to get 100%.
Oh god, no. I haven't even done that with my favorite game
Wait,
yet, which is
did
Brotherhood.
you not like Odyssey or
Oh yeah, your
Origins?
favorite. You know your favorite.
I didn't like
game is
Odyssey.
Odyssey. Okay, so Origins you're okay with.
Yes.
Gotcha.
Now we're on to the second to last category, if you will. Just general stuff. Oh shoot, I need to pull this up real quick. So recently Ubisoft sent out a survey to players of Ghost Recon Breakpoint. And
It's trash.
this survey, well, yeah. The survey was basically, what do you want to see change? Because they saw that they weren't getting the sales that they wanted. So they were kind of like, how can we improve what we want?
Make a shitty game and just make it like they made it for the past 10 years.
So, for the most requested changes or fixes, portion of the survey, more than half of the players surveyed said adding AI teammates was amongst their top 5 most wanted picks. Which, I mean, is understandable. I don't know why they took it out of... Huh?
Wait, that's not a part of Costa Rica Breakpoint?
No, that's Wildlands.
So that was only in Wildlands? That's
Yeah.
weird.
I agreed. Over 35% of players said that they wanted gear scores and tiered loot removed.
Division.
Yep.
Wait, so they basically took the Division and made it into Ghost Recon.
Yeah.
That's not a good
They wanted enemy AI improvements and wanted the ability to sell all of their weapons and gear at once. Just behind that percentage, over 30% of players said that they wanted online requirements removed.
Oh, you need Plus to play?
Apparently. Or you have to always be connected to the internet, which is what like Xbox was when it first...
That's so dumb.
I agree. As far as the new content that players wanted to see, the biggest request by far was more story content, with over 70% of players making it high on their lists. And then more than 60 said that they wanted new weapons, a staple in any kind of game like that, and over half the players surveyed said that they wanted more character customization options and more gunsmith options. And of course you're going to get that in a game like that where Ubisoft is like, we're doing it as a service. And I played through the beta and I just didn't care.
Yeah, me and you played the beta together, and it was...
I didn't even want to touch it because I just knew it was gonna be bad.
Well,
I played what was the one before that?
Wildlands.
I didn't think Wildlands was that bad. I was just like, okay, this world's like, it's a big world, but it's super empty.
Mhm.
It was really, really cold.
And that's
So
a problem for a lot of game devs, and that's why I also like Cyberpunk, because it's a smaller map, so they have more chances to upload AI and make it like actually look lived in. Moving into Google Stadia, they had a pretty bad launch. Apparently it's $9.99 per month. The controllers are $7. Yeah, but the controllers are $70, and even though you pay for that subscription, you still have to buy the games at full price.
What? You have
Yeah.
buy it. That's...
To move from your phone to your tablet to your laptop to your desktop. Do what, Jeremy?
It's a cool idea.
Yeah, you can't even. I heard that the streaming quality of the games itself suck anyway.
Yeah. What were we were talking about? Oh yeah, so Jade Raymond was an executive producer at Ubisoft, and she helped to do like Assassin's Creed 3 and 4, and then
Oh,
she
those are good
moved.
games.
She moved to EA, where she was gonna do that Star Wars game, but then it ended up being canceled, and she moved to Google as the head of an up and coming gaming project, which is Google Stadia, which I thought that was kind of funny. But yeah, she was the one that was headlining that EA game, that Star Wars game, and then it got canceled, and then she moved and did Stadia. Um, so
That
that's
was it.
that was it.
Got it.
This is a couple of weeks ago, so controversies died down, but let's bring it back. FaZe Jarvis was banned for playing
Oh my
for auto hacking
God.
I'm going to riot.
on another account. Um, should he have been banned for permanently? Should he have gotten
I'm
like
gonna
a
be real
day
with you.
ban, or should
It
that
more or less
account he was
part
playing
plays
on
with
should have been
Discord.
banned?
I'm gonna be honest with you. Nick can take this one away because I could care less.
I could care less too, but I'm still gonna pretend I care. He should have been banned permanently because you know why? Cheating is bad. Like you can cheat and like if you get your account banned, but if he's going to cheat, he knows how to cheat. He's taking the mods or whatever they're wearing mods.
For granted.
Mods. I don't know the other word. Or hackers. Anyways, I mean, if you're gonna take advantage of that, you gotta expect the risks, you know.
Well,
I
here,
wouldn't say permanently,
but here's my thing.
temporary ban.
I think it should have been temporary. I thought only the account he was playing on should have been banned because apparently that's what they've been doing with like a lot of other people. But because he was FaZe Jarvis, they just banned him entirely.
Well, on
Yeah.
top of that, he's a big content creator and a big influencer, so other people are going to do what he did because of that.
Yeah, but
And I know that
other influencers had like done the same thing he did, and they didn't get
I
permanently
also know
banned.
that,
He never get. I don't know because I didn't really watch it. I don't really care for that kind of thing, but I don't think he ever gave an explicit warning saying don't do this. I don't know though if he did.
Jeremy?
not only that, I also know that Epic is really. I know they like tried to suppress charges on like a kid.
Oh yeah.
Who was caught cheating Fortnite. I know that Epic is
They're a bit
super.
weird
They get
about that.
they get really pissy about it. So I'm not surprised they did that to have him being the example.
I
Unfortunately,
think they're just trying to send a message. That just
yeah,
not
but
do that.
unfortunately, he had to get an outrageous example. But at the end of the day, that's how Epic is, and that they're trying to scare people into not cheating because their game's going downhill and they need player base.
And they need
Because
money.
every game is full of bots.
Right.
Once Fortnite finally dies, the bots will take over and just have games of their own.
Finally.
Right. That'd be funny.
Some more controversy for you. For some reason, the Video Game Awards did not have a place for Jedi Fallen Order, despite it literally coming out
Really?
a week after Death Stranding, and Death Stranding is in the nominees.
It's only because of Kojima. If anybody else made that game, they'd be shit. I'm just saying right off the bat.
Yeah, I mean, his name does bring a lot of recognition, and
It's like Apple.
Apple sucks.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm not saying Apple sucks. I'm just
No,
saying,
Apple
like,
does suck.
Company. I was talking about the fruit. Sorry.
No, I mean, like,
Vegetable?
I mean, like, if Apple, like, because you know, when you hear Apple, it's like
They're two
Apple,
different things.
Apple. For video gaming, it's like when you hear Kojima, you're like, oh shit, it's Kojima. So I feel like he literally gets a pass card on everything he makes
got the
because
clout.
it's Kojima. Yeah, he's got the clout, if you want to put it that way.
Well, I am still enjoying the game. Cinematics and the scenes, everything is still very interesting to me. We'll see what I think when I get to the end of the game, because apparently there are a lot of episodes, and I'm not as close to the end as I thought it was.
Wait, so is it a TV series or is it a video game then?
It's a video game. But he did that same shit in Metal Gear Solid. Like, every time you went to go play a mission, it would be like starring, and it would say like all the creators and directors. But also, that was a fuck you to Konami, because he was like, I made this game, you only published it. I'm putting my name and everybody else all around it. Last general gaming question, or just topic. I'm not so sure. I don't think Nick has heard anything, and I already asked Jeremy. He said he didn't know anything. Apparently, there was a leak that Rockstar Games is working on some sort of medieval game.
Wait. Oh, you know. Sorry.
It wouldn't.
Mordhau.
It wouldn't surprise me, Jeremy, if it was kind of like
It's
chivalry.
probably gonna be another deal like Red Dead, where they did a cowboy game. Now they're gonna do a medieval game.
Well, here's my thing. It wouldn't surprise me if they turned it into some sort of battle royale, kind of like chivalry or.
There's a lot of battle royales going around.
But they need to really improve their controls, if that's gonna be the case.
Yeah.
That's a fact.
Gang.
We're almost through, boys. We're almost through. We're almost at an hour. I can't believe it's only been an hour. And that was like a whole list. Yeah. TV and movies. Game of Thrones showrunners, D.B. Weiss and David Benioff. Yeah. They're no longer involved with the upcoming Star Wars trilogy. Would you shut up? No, they're not. I don't remember what else they were involved with something else, and they're like, we can't do both of these. No, it wasn't Game of Thrones.
Not Game of Thrones.
I don't know what else it was. So they're no longer involved with the upcoming Star Wars trilogy, and no one has been announced that to take over that place. HBO canceled actually the Game of Thrones prequel that was supposed to take place 8,000 years before the main story and starred Naomi Watts. So that was within like a week of each other. So I was like, that's kind of funny that one got canceled and then the other one got canceled.
That's whack, dog. I mean, it's just, you know. I don't know where I was going with that.
I know Jeremy has, but you haven't because you don't have Disney Plus. Mandalorian, we're up to 3 episodes so far.
Slaps.
Baby Yoda.
So it's a spoiler.
Slaps.
Is that a spoiler?
It is a spoiler.
It's been everywhere.
It's a spoiler. Anyways, it's pretty good. I enjoyed it. I know episode 4 is out right now, but I haven't seen it yet, and Jeremy's the same. So we'll see where that goes. It's doing pretty good for a first original. Apparently, we're getting Kenobi next year.
Okay, I was just about to ask that.
You said Ewan McGregor's gonna do that, right?
Ewan McGregor, yes.
Ewan, I don't care. I don't
It's
know how to say
Ewan.
his name. It's a weird name.
EWA.
Conor McGregor?
You.
Yeah, I said Ewan. It's like Evan, but Ewan.
You. Anyways, he'll be set to star, and we'll get to see his adventures during that time between episodes 3 and 4.
Is it gonna be like Solo? Because that movie wasn't too good. Like,
it's a TV show, bro.
It's a TV show, yeah.
The Han Solo movie.
Yeah, what about it?
It's gonna be like that, where it's another separate character spin-off. I hope it's not like that.
I don't think so, because, well, Mandalorian takes place after episode 9.
Wait, so...
What?
Oh, is Kenobi going to take place during the Clone Wars, or is it going to take place like when he was a kid?
No, it'll be between episodes 3 and 4. It'll be his time on Tatooine protecting Luke Skywalker.
Dang it, because I just want to watch more stuff from the Clone Wars.
But this will I'm assuming this will tie in to what we saw in Solo with Darth Maul. Because what was
in Solo about Darth Maul? I never watched Solo.
You never watched Solo?
No, I've heard it's a terrible movie.
Okay.
I didn't watch it either.
There's a scene near the end of the movie. There's like a whole thing that happens, and we see Darth Maul on a hologram, and he like pops up, and he's like this overlord over like crime syndicates or whatever, and it proves that he's alive during that time. So a lot of people were like, they can't just have that cameo and leave that there. They've got to do something with it.
So that's what they're gonna do.
So
just leave it there.
They wouldn't go through all that effort to do that.
Yeah, they would.
I don't think they would.
Let's not
but here's the thing. In Rebels, there's a scene where he, is officially like he's done. So we know he doesn't die in this series. But maybe they did that scene in Solo to, you know, be like, okay, well, he's going to be the main villain in this TV series between 3 and 4 with Kenobi. Maybe
Is
it'll...
that the time frame of Solo?
No, Solo is between 3 and 4.
Okay.
Well, so technically yes, but I think it's before he meets like Han and them. Yes. But it'll be interesting to see what they do, and they might go with this thing of, well, we want Kenobi to deal with things from his past that he still has to face, and Darth Maul would be one of those things because he's not dead, and they proved that through the Clone Wars and through Rebels. So it'll be interesting.
I'm watching the Clone Wars right now. I love that show.
Yeah, I had to take a pause on that because I was doing schoolwork. Other news: Uncharted movie. Mark Wahlberg is cast to play as Sully, along with Tom Holland to play as Nathan Drake.
Well, yes.
But it's funny.
Yeah.
Hold on.
Yeah.
But it's funny because Mark Wahlberg was originally cast to play Nathan Drake a couple of years ago, so it kind of comes full circle because he's playing the older man.
Dude, I'm down with Tom Holland.
I am too. I'm down with Tom Holland.
Facial hair.
Okay.
I can grow facial hair.
I can too.
Yeah, Jonah's got a nice beard.
I really do. You can't see it right now. CGI. Okay, so I wanted to get y'all's opinion on this. CGI actors versus real actors. So if you didn't know, I know both have you both of you watched Rogue One?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So if you guys didn't know this, you do now. The actor who played Grand Moff Tarkin was Peter.
CGI 'cause he died.
Yeah, it was Peter Cushing, and he passed away. So what they...
The same thing happened for Carrie Fisher.
Yes.
Yeah.
But they took an actor and they put him in a green screen, and they put I think it was old footage that they had taken, and they digitally animated him in a green screen, or on the guy wearing the green screen suit, and they had him do the lines and everything. Or actually, they had taken clips that from what he had said, and they had rearranged it to say what they wanted it to say in Rogue One. So this is a huge debate on the internet because a lot of people are saying, oh, this isn't okay, why can't we just get someone else to do it? Now here's my thing. I agree if it's like an already established character for something like Star Wars where they were going back in time to do something like this, I think that's fine. But now there are other people who are saying like, oh, let's make this movie, but let's have Robin Williams in it, and let's do a CGI version of Robin Williams. I don't think that's okay. I don't think that's fair to current actors. But if it was an already established role, like if Harrison Ford had died, but they wanted him in episode 7, fuck it. Put him in CGI. Do it, you know?
Yeah,
I mean,
sense.
as long as they get his permission, because you said Harrison Ford for that one?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, they can get his permission, and they can use him.
Either his or the family's.
Have an act.
So. I asked this question to both of you, but I kind of wanted to do it on the podcast. Oh, I know what it was for me. Last game that you wanted to buy that you just had to have, but you didn't pre-order it.
Untitled
easy.
Goose Game.
Huh?
He said Untitled Goose Game.
Oh, easy.
No, not that one. Before.
Death Stranding.
He didn't pre-order Death Stranding.
Oh, Pokemon.
Pokemon. Okay, for me it was God of War. So that was the last question. We're almost at an hour. Actually, at 52 minutes. Well, 59.
69.
He said the funny word.
I went to go see. Let's see, movies. I recently saw Knives Out. That was a good movie. It's like Clue. If you guys ever go to the movies, it's a pretty good movie.
I was supposed to see Ford versus Ferrari.
Last movie I watched was Joker.
I never saw that.
That's a good movie too. Oh, you haven't seen Joker? What's wrong with you?
Vibe check.
Murray.
Hey, well, nice spoilers.
It's not a spoiler.
Yeah, it is.
I was supposed to see Ford versus Ferrari, but then it sold out. Ironically, it sold out. I didn't think that a movie like that would sell out.
Yeah, my dad was like, "You want to go see it?" I'm like, "I don't know. It has Christian Bale and
Let's go see the McDonald's movie.
That's what actually interested me.
yeah, I'm a huge fan of Christian Bale.
Super Size Me.
You know what? Supersize Me.
Do you hear something?
You know what I actually watched the other day? The 2017 version of The Mummy with Tom Cruise.
Brendan Fraser was better.
Brendan Fraser was better. Let me tell you,
For what?
The Mummy with Tom Cruise.
The original Mummy's the best mummy.
Well, yeah, I agree. But I just wanted to say, this Mummy with Tom Cruise was absolutely garbage. I just didn't care for it.
If it was a standalone movie.
If it was a standalone, maybe, but because like everybody already knew that this was to set up the rest of the Dark Universe or whatever they're calling it, with like all the other creatures like King Kong and Godzilla and all that. Gojira. Who knows?
Kaiju.
Kaiju? Who knows?
Gojira.
Jeremy, any anime you've been watching recently?
Oh dear God, anime. I've been watching My Hero Academia.
Actually, I put that on pause. I watched it with my brother. I put that on pause because of The Mandalorian. I was watching JoJo. I'm on Stardust. No, I forget.
Alright, yeah, so we're ending it here.
Diamond Shining or whatever. Diamond Shining, but I haven't finished it because I'm watching Star Wars and Clone Wars instead. So I'll go back to it. Dude, I saw JoJo's shirt at Zumiez.
Oh my god.
I almost bought it, but I was like, I have too much anime clothes. I have like two like pieces of anime clothing, and that's too much for me.
But you have a Naruto headband, one of those metal ones.
I've actually never watched that.
Wait, really?
I haven't either.
I have.
Dude, there were people at my school that would like run around.
Naruto run down the hall?
Yeah.
We had kids that would do that in the cafeteria, Nick.
One guy did that across the football field in the middle of a game. It was pretty funny.
That's funny though. You know. That's
You
just
remember,
fun.
I don't want to say his name on the podcast. There was a kid that literally did that. Oh, wait, maybe, hold on, maybe this clue will get you, Nick. He used to have his music blasting down the hallway.
No, I don't think I know.
No? Okay, I'll tell you
have
after.
the big headphones in?
No.
Just write in the Discord group chat.
Oh, yeah, I could, can I? But yeah, so currently watching The Mandalorian.
Same.
I still have to finish Futurama.
Did he actually?
Yeah, he did that.
It was that guy?
Yeah.
Did Naruto run down the... Oh my god, I remember now actually, yeah.
Anyways, yeah, Futurama, Mandalorian.
Alec is actually uploading all those Futurama episodes on Pornhub.
Oh yeah, I remember that. He was like, I hope they don't take it down.
Right on there.
No, we're dead ass, Jeremy. One of our friends is doing that. And he was like, please don't report for nudity. Oh, it's hilarious. All right, well, I think that's all we got this time. Thank you, Nick, for joining us. It's a pleasure having you on.
I got it.
We always.
Thank you for all the Fortnite dances.
Oh my god.
Oh god. Okay, no, end it. Just end it. I messed up. I made a mistake.
Okay.
All right,
Okay.
bye.
See you guys.